Evening, students. Today we will start the asexual reproduction. Among them, it is fragmentation. It is the mode of asexual reproduction in which the single parents divides into two or more fragments, and each fragment grows into a new individual. Example: Spirogyra. Next one is the budding. In yeast, you know that yeast cells mostly divides by budding. A small buds are produced that remain attached initially to the parent cell, which eventually gets separated and mature into new yeast organisms. Third one is the spore formation. Mostly in case of algae and fungi, these are the mode of reproduction, asexual reproduction, in which there is the formation of spores. In case of algae, commonly it is known as zoospores, which is motile because it has one or two flagella, and these flagella are produced into a sac-like structure which is commonly known as zoosporangium. And the example is most a common example of the spore formation, in which we can see the zoospores which are produced. It is known as the chlamydomonas. Next one is the conidia. It is the asexual non-motile spores. Zoospores which were motile. Here we have to learn that conidia, there is the formation of spores, but it is non-motile. It cuts off externally either singly or in chains, and the best example of it is known as the penicillium. Another example of the asexual mode of reproduction is known as gamules. Another mode of asexual reproduction is known as gamule, in which internal asexual reproductive units or buds which is formed is known as gamules. The example is a sponge. These develops within the parental body and are released during germination. The most now we will discuss about the asexual mode of reproduction, which is commonly known as the vegetative reproduction, and it occurs in plants. These plants, it can produce the vegetative propagules. These propagules, it may be either root or stem, and the some units of vegetative propagules is like this. In case of the agave, it is the bulbil. In case of onion or garlic, it is the bulbs. In case of potato, you can see that there are the eyes like a structure. These are vegetative propagules. When you will cut a potato into so many pieces and each having one eye, if you will sow it, there is a formation of new plants. The another example which you have seen, that is the bryophyllums. At each notch of the bryophyllum leaves, there are the leaf buds which can divide by mitotic cell division and develops into the new plants. Another example of the vegetative propagules which you have to learn, it is the offset. It is most commonly seen into the water hyacinths, and another is known as the rhizome, that is known as the example is ginger. All of you are very familiar to the ginger. So ginger, how the ginger will grow? It will grow with the help of the rhizome. And next one is the oxalis. That oxalis, it means the vegetative propagules. It is known as the runner. In case of the mint, it is known as the sucker. Now you have to learn all these vegetative propagules. Although there are the vegetative propagules especially, but all of these can develop into the new plants where there is the node. So one mass questions may be asked, that bulbil or balls or eyes etc, how it will develops into the new plants. Each propagules which can gives rise to the new plants, it will always grow at the node. All of you are knowing the node. You are very familiar with the stem. The stem is the characteristic features of the stem, that it has node and internode. I think that all of you can learn about the, you can understand about the asexual mode of reproduction, and the diagram which you have to follow, the NCERT book page number 5, 6 and 7. So my dear students, all of you have to draw the diagram of the all the reproductive units of asexual reproduction, and you have to make a notes also on this topic. That's all. Good night. My dear students, now we will learn about the sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, it involves the fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote. Male, it requires male gametes, and another is known as the female gametes. When they unite together, will unite together. Suppose here you can see the sperm's male gamete and it is the ova of the female gamete. When it fuses the nucleus from the sperm's nucleus, there is a formation of single-celled zygote. As you have learned in class 10 also, how there is the formation of zygote. So always sexual reproduction, it involves two parents, and after fusion of these gametes there is the formation of the zygote. Now all these organisms, when it will develop from the zygote, how they will reproduce later on. So the growth of the zygote means till the maturity in their life, it is known as the juvenile period. The term is known as the juvenile period. It means from the zygote till the sexual maturity, this stage is known as the juvenile period. And at the juvenile period, it means there is the formation and the maturation of the gametes. But when the fertilization will take place, it means it has to reach at the maturity. In case of plants, it is known as juvenile phase, which will be occurs in case of plant. It is known as the vegetative phase. In plants, it is known as the vegetative phase. Okay. Now we will learn there are two types of living organ. There are two categories of the living organisms in which the sexual reproduction occurs. Organisms in which it is known as the oestrus cycle and another is known as the menstrual cycle. Now, the oestrus cycle, it occurs in non-primates. Non-primates. And menstrual cycle always occurs in the primates. Who is non-primates? Means the living organisms like cows, sheep, dogs, etc. The female reproductive cycle is called the oestrus cycle. And in primates, we are primates. Monkey, apes and human beings, these are known as the primates. And in them, we have to see that there is one kind of cycle which is responsible or which can reach at the maturity time. It is known as the menstrual cycle. Now the question is that if the reproductive phase is reached, what are the events of the reproduction? Events of reproduction. There are three phases, three events. First one is known as the pre-fertilization. Pre-fertilization. Second phase is known as the fertilization. And third one is known as the post-fertilization. A organism, suppose either it is a oestrus cycle, or when the organisms show the menstrual cycle, there are three events of reproduction. First one is, again I am repeating, first one is known as the pre-fertilization. Number two is known as the fertilization, which is commonly known as syngamy. In class 10 you have learned the word syngamy, means when there is a fusion of male and female gametes. And third one is known as the post fertilization. Now, pre-fertilization stage. What is pre-fertilization stage? Means in the pre-fertilization. Pre-fertilization requires the event which is known as the gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. My dear students, one marks question also it is important. What is gametogenesis? The process which involves the formation of the gametes is known as gametogenesis. Now, these gametogenesis, how it occurs? So first of all, we have to see that in some case of the plants, the gametes are formed, which is known as male gametes. It is known as, if suppose the gametogenesis, it is the events in which gametes are formed. So there are two events. One is known as the spermatogenesis and another is known as oogenesis. Spermatogenesis, the process by which the sperms are formed. Sperms are formed. The sperms are formed mostly in male. And oogenesis, the process by which there is a formation of the ova. It occurs always in female. Now, the male gametes and the female gametes, what is the difference between it? Always the male gametes are motile and the female gametes are stationary. Means it has to remain fixed at one place. But these male gametes are motile because it has to reach to that female gametes, that is commonly known as the ova. In case of plants, there is the formation of not it is commonly known as the anthrozoids. You can say spermatogenesis, but commonly in case of plants, it is known as the anthrozoids. Anthrozoids. And in the female, again, female gametes is known as the egg, or you can say also ovum. Now, in human beings, male produces gametes, male gametes, that is sperm. Female gamete, that is ova. Now, the male and the female gamete which is formed in human beings, you have to see that always the male gametes are microscopic and it is produced in very large quantity. The female gametes which is produced in the ovary, it is singular. It means when there is a menstrual cycle, after menstrual cycles, the reproductive cycles will start, and every month there is a formation of the ovum, but it is always single ovum will be formed. In case